Have you been watching all of our shorts from my time in Montana near Dillon? It's been a great time and we can't wait to tell you about it. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jam, and we are Treasure Hunt with us. And yes, I've been watching all your shorts. I'm jealous as all heck. You guys look like you're having so much fun out there getting amazing information.
That's the thing is the bulk of this trip was meant as a recon. We believe that it's so important to do recon in an area because I'm going to tell you after 3 days out there, there's places I'll never go again unless it's meant for, fun. And then there's places that I'm going to have to go back multiple times.
I agree. And before we get going here, I just left this banner on really quick, but so I can remember to turn it off right now. Please like, comment, and subscribe to us. We really appreciate all the support we're getting. It's crazy. We're happy. Thank you so much.
Well,
God.
that's awesome. I'm loving hearing that. So I will tell you that we came back today, which is Monday, the 14th, early because we thought that our plane was 7:35 tomorrow night and it's at 7:35 tomorrow morning. So we didn't want to drive 2 hours to Idaho Falls Airport in the dark at 3:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. So we came back early, had a little dinner. Maybe you're gonna get a little rest. It's been a lot this week. It's been a lot.
Let's go through. I'm excited to talk. So we always talk about it's going out and doing these boots on the ground. So important. So important. It's not just for trying to find the spots. It's about trying to say eliminate the spots most of the time.
Sure.
So
Should
what
we
what
talk
did we
about the weather
discover?
first? You want to start with the weather?
That's most important because I think most people, including me, thought there's going to be a ton of snow. So what
Right.
was the snow level like?
So at the base of like the canyons in the different areas, it's about maybe 5,000 to 6,000 feet, and it was no snow
That's
anywhere.
crazy.
It we at set on Saturday at about 7,500 feet, it had like some flurries. I'm like, oh, how cute is this? These flakes, but it didn't really stick, and there wasn't even at that 7,500 feet. There wasn't a ton of snow. There was just patches. Yesterday was pretty well, it was warm like from the sensation that the sun was beating down, but it was also kind of windy and cold from that perspective. But we actually were helping somebody out with a hunt, and we went as high as a little over 9,000 feet, and there was still just patchy snow. That
Well,
said, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
That said, listening to the weather this morning, they're anticipating a potential snowstorm this week but starting approximately Wednesday to Thursday. Every channel had a little bit something different. So the key to take from this, and sorry, I dropped my paper. The key to takeaway is know your weather. Know your weather. Be planned for your weather. Boots on the ground is about being ready to go, right? Boots on the ground is about being prepared for everything. And that means having different kinds of layering of clothing. That means different kinds of snowshoes, hiking boots, waterproof, all those kinds of things. You just need to know. And you see in the videos, I mean, you saw the videos over 3 days. I have like 7 different outfits. And the reality is it's not 7 outfits, it's 7 layers.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. You're making some great content out there for people, helping people out, and we get to see things that we weren't expecting. Like you go to areas, and what are some of the issues you've run into on areas that you thought you were going to get to scout out?
Right. There's a lot of stuff like that. Well, first I'll tell you, we got a few places and I'm like, this is too dangerous. We got a few places and I'm like, this is too small. I mean, I really kind of felt like everywhere I went, I was like, not quite in the right spot. Not everywhere, but there's probably, I would say 70% of the places I went, I was really excited to be there. I started to really clue in. And we talk about boots on the ground and about checkpoints, right? Because Justin says there's a checkpoint. He hasn't clarified if that checkpoint is in the poem or boots on the ground. But what I'm going to tell you is I'm starting to see the poem a little bit different because I could recognize the potential of information from the poem in the location. Now, I'm sure that some of that's location bias, and definitely I've always got a little bit of confirmation bias. But what I'm saying is that there's a reality of being boots on the ground versus, you know, looking at armchair or from armchair strategy. Boots on the ground kind of tells you, is this is a spot where I should search, or is this a spot leading me to the spot I should search? Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, totally does. And I noticed in some of your videos, they're even closed off. Like some areas
Yeah,
that we thought we were going to get to search, you could even get to.
sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of my favorite spots of that was the granite compass, right? So
Yes.
yeah, I really wanted to get out there. It's a compass. It's
So
made of
Clark's
granite.
Lookout, you're talking about Clark's Lookout, and we did a short on that one. Clark's Lookout, we get there. I'm so excited. It's our first stop of Sunday. I had like 6 hours before I had to start work. So I was like, let's get as many of these areas checked off as possible. We get up there, boom, closed for the season. I wasn't okay with that. And I'm like, well, let's see if we can get a little closer. Maybe I can walk up. I walk on the edge, little fine line action, right? But as we got closer, it says again, hey, this is closed, and the gates are closed. And a really nice lady told me that, hey, listen, you shouldn't go up there because if they catch you up there, they'll arrest you for trespassing. I don't look great in orange, contrary to this gorgeous color I'm wearing now. And I was just like, hey, I'm going to try following some of the rules. And this is an example of one of them. But we missed on that. And that makes me sad because that's one of the things I really wanted to look at.
It's great that we would have got to see it, but that tells us right away, right? That's not, it can't be it. He said everything was open 24/7. And so if you can't get out to Clark's Lookout and Clark's Lookout is part of your solve,
Right.
maybe that's just a
It's
part to get to
unlikely.
where you want to be. But if you have
Right.
to be at Clark's Lookout, it's
It's
not going to be
unlikely that
there.
it's there. Right.
It's
So
unlikely. Yeah.
it's
We never
unlikely.
say never. So
Yes, never is not. We're not gonna say never because certainly it turns out big shock. I don't have any, packages or what does he call them, containers in my hand. So it could be anywhere. That said, I do think that there's some valuable information to be learned from Clark's Landing, or sorry, from Clark's Lookout.
mhm.
The issue is I couldn't get there, and so I know that when I go back in a couple weeks, that's one of the places I'll hope will be open, and I will head there first because it's a really easy. When you're in Dillon, it's one of the easiest places to get to.
Speaking of which, I know Saturday you went to Gracie's. So tell me about that experience. And because I want to hear about today when you went back. But let's first start with your Saturday experience.
So I got there 20 minutes to 4. It says on the door that it's open Monday through Saturday from 9 to 4. We got there at about 20 minutes to 4 and it was closed. And the new video will drop for that, I think tonight. I think that Scott's going to get it all put together and get it out tonight. There's a lot going on because we're talking about potentially dropping this video and stuff like that. But I want the shorts to get out there because I want people to be able to see. I want people to be able to know what they're looking at, right? So Gracie's has some really unique vibe. All over this building, it's got like chalkboards with writing that looks fresh, like fresh as today fresh, right? But I went back today, Monday the 14th, 2 days later, and it's still closed. So there's a part of the chalkboard that says closed for the winter, and I think they mean it.
Yeah, it must still be winter. I wonder when that ends. If is it actual winter when it actually turns to spring? Now they're open. They're missing an opportunity.
I would
Gracie,
have
if
I
you're
would have
watching
gone
this,
in and bought stuff.
Justin's book puts you in one of his chapters about how amazing you are, and people want to
Right.
go. If you're thinking about opening, you can make some money. I'm pretty
Well,
sure we would have
it's
spent some
so
money.
shocking. So out there's you want to talk about the trust of this small community. It's like there's literally product all over the place on the outside of this building, and you'll see it. Like I hope when people are watching the video, they zoom in and they see everything. And each of the chalkboards has so much stuff written on it. And I was like, is there clues here? So I was really ready to look for that. But it's really exciting to be right there in the middle of Dillon and getting an idea of what that environment is and what he grew up with. I mean, that's where he spent his summers, and I could see it.
Yeah, and I saw pictures of the walls and their gates and stuff like that because
Uh,
I love the gate that they had up there. But when you did the video and you're walking down it, it really gives you a better sense of just how
Right.
amazing
Well,
that wall and the yard really is. So
well, and I have no clue what those rocks are made of, except for the top is full of quartz, and it looks like some of it
yeah,
was like maybe a rose quartz at one time, but the sun has been sun bleached since. But I mean that wall and quartz alone has to be worth $100,000, right?
that's crazy.
It's in town. Like if ever I was gonna buy a property, I'm like I need to have this for this
I
wall.
want the wall.
I need the wall. It is what it is, right? I will tell you too, another video that's going to drop this week because some people are really excited about this,
Mhm.
is the Clark Canyon Reservoir. And that's really that story that's in the book is about the time that Justin brought Jenny to go fishing with his grandfather for the first
Yeah.
time. And I really that was really kind of beautiful because coming in from Idaho Falls, that's the first place we saw. And so even though our intent was to go straight to the hotel, we stopped, looked around, shot a video, and we debated going back. But like our cursory view of that area said, even if this is where it's at, it's so large that we would need additional information.
Right. Yeah. You definitely need a lot more time there. And you, speaking
Right.
of being out there with the grandpa and stuff like that, it makes me think of the mother's favorite fishing hole, which
Oh,
was at
yeah.
the Beaverhead, right?
Well,
So
she loved the Beaverhood, and there's a
yeah.
couple things. So yesterday we shot video at Beaverhead Canyon Gateway.
Yeah.
Um, and I loved that video, and but I loved that place. It was so majestic. I actually got permission to take my souvenir of the little spine piece home with me that I found on the beach. Some people are kind of freaked out about it. I just feel like it would be rude to leave it, like like here I found this piece. I don't remember you if I don't take it with me, kind of thing. And then someone's like, "No, you're not supposed to take stuff." No, no, no. I talked to somebody. It's okay for me to take that. In fact, they were like, "Yeah, take it. That's fantastic." I didn't take the clumps of hair that were there. I mean, that would have been horrible and
Yeah, that would not have
mortifying.
been good.
But the area itself was super, super cool, very beautiful. The rock formations are very interesting because on one side of the freeway you have this big, massive rock that's the main piece of the Beaverhead Canyon Gateway, and on the other side you can see why it was the gateway because it's another even. It's taller, but it's kind of more sheer. The rocks have the most unique formations about them. And when you get close and you look at it, you're like, wow, this is just so insane. And, the river itself runs right in front of it and it's a gateway. And so one of the things that really on this in our solve that we've had in question, and actually it's interesting because a lot of people in Discord have messaged me about it. The bride, people are really struggling with the bride and the realm and certain words, right? So I really feel like the gateway is a part of it. And so that was one of it. The other thing that we saw too was Beaverhead Rock today. And so Beaverhead Rock is part of a state park, right?
Right.
And the other thing too, I'm sorry about the Beaverhead gateway that kind of ties into Beaverhead Rock is when Lewis and Clark in 1805 were kind of coming from east to west, and they're kind of doing a chronology. Sacagawea was their guide, and so when he was going
It's a
to,
pretty good guide to
I
have.
mean, if you're gonna
So
pick one, I feel like you couldn't have done better.
yeah.
So when he was going to meet Sacagawea at Beaverhead Rock, and so he took obviously the Beaverhead River, and when he came through the Beaverhead Canyon Gateway, he actually dubbed it Rattlesnake's Cliff because there was rattlesnakes everywhere. When I found that out, it really was making a little scary for me to be out there because you can see that would be a place to be rattlesnake, riddled, right? So when he came, when Lewis came first, and then like 10, 12 days later, Clark comes with the rest of their battalion, and the river itself was pretty treacherous. So they get to the point where they had to get out. They had to get out of their canoes and get out, and they found out firsthand why they were calling it Rattlesnake Cliffs. So I think
Well,
that had to be scary.
Rattlesnake Cliff is now more important because in our interview when we talked with Justin Posey, his favorite story was the Postal
Right.
Pilgrimage, which was about running into Romeo and
Rattlesnake.
Juliet of
Yeah, they're like, oh,
snakes, rattlesnakes.
like
So that's interesting,
it's like if
you
you're
know?
falling in love when you're a rattlesnake and your rattle's going off. Is that like dancing? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So there's that. I will tell you though, like the other part of that story that kind of goes with the Beaverhead Rock is so Lewis gets to where Sacagawea is, and her tribe always congregated around Beaverhead Rock, right?
Mhm.
And so it's this massive rock. We did a video there today, in the Shoshone tribe, which is her tribe. That's where they met, but they could be anywhere along the river. So when Lewis and Clark are coming there, they're going to come. They're going to trade for more provisions. They're going to trade for fresh horses to finish things out. When the men were coming out, they couldn't get footing on the rocks. There's all kinds of stories about the different stuff. It's so vested in history that I will say this, that like it comes with preordained warnings, right? Be cautious of the rattlesnakes. They're there. You're in their territory. Be cautious in the river. You're there. It's dangerous. Be cautious. And I just always want to remind everybody to take a step back if something they're doing feels like they're getting too close to the edge.
Yeah, I mean they had fence around some of the river, right? Because with danger signs, because we
Right.
saw some of the one of my favorite spots you were going
Right.
by, the big hole, right? Big hole with the capital
Sure.
H river. That water was flowing,
Right.
you
So that
know.
was when we were in Wisdom. You got to see it there. Now, obviously, there's more than one place to get into any given river, and that's important to understand. But there's really I think the key is when you're doing your research is you have to know what's public land and what's private land because it's different. And the truth is about these valleys is that this is a massive you're like it's an area that's where cattle is. It's a massive cattle ranches everywhere. So there are fences and barbed wire and metal fences on the regular fences because there's a lot. I would say I mean, I couldn't tell you the exact number, and I wouldn't want to quote a number, but I would say probably 60 to 70% of this area is private land that's owned through cattle ranching. And then the other 30% might be 30 to 40% is public land. Now, what you have to know is that in like today, so we left Beaverhead Rock and we went to Twin Bridges because one of our boots on the ground solves was for a place called Hell's Canyon Road. It was a fishing hole just outside of Twin Bridges. And what made that super significant is Twin Bridges is the area where the Ruby River, the Big Hole River, and the Beaverhead River all converge to make the Jefferson River. So you have, the foot of three, and the river itself goes at 20 degrees. So you have the foot of three at 20 degrees, right? And so for us, when I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a fishing hole, because I still believe that there's a strong likelihood that this is tied to a fishing hole. I think also you believe that.
Absolutely. Look, you go
Yeah.
around the big hole, right?
Right.
Where you get to cast your pole. I mean, there's stories
Sure.
about this. This is one of the main reasons we're in Montana, where they're talking about going around all these
Right.
bends and down
Yes.
the Jefferson River, and just a great location, right? And I mean, the
Right.
key with this, right, is that we want to mention too is if you're on a trail, near a trail, on a place, it's not going to be there. He doesn't want anybody to accidentally go there.
Right.
So as we're going through and seeing areas, just know that if you're on a path, it's probably not going to be there. You're going to want to go way
Right.
off the path to find your spot. But these are
Right.
incredible places that line up. So
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the other thing too that I want to note. So yesterday we helped somebody with a solve, and when we
yes.
were we were it was
Well,
I was
let's
glad to
talk
do it.
about that, right? Because we
Okay.
thought you were going to have a direct access to this. So let's just talk
Right.
about this whole trip that we were trying to help someone out, right?
Right.
And what's it
Super
called?
nice
Just give him
friend.
more some, yeah, super good guy. And we wanted to give him information about the possibility of the spot. And
Right.
what did
I
you
was
run
ready to go
into?
to his
Yeah.
location that was
Hmm.
pinpointed to his place, and I'm not going to give his spot away, but it
Oh, I
was
see.
pinpointed to his location. But and I was ready to film the area. I was glad to grid search whatever I could do to help and just do the right thing, right? So the problem is this: is that we started off of Highway 15 we turned off, and almost immediately it turned to a dirt road, which
That
is fine.
happens a lot out there,
Yeah,
right?
it happens a lot. You'd be
Mhm.
surprised. Actually, in Polaris, it's mind blowing how much of Polaris is dirt roads, right? But it
Nice.
started as a dirt road that eventually turned into a gravel road that then turned into a rocky road, which was then full blown boulders, right? And the higher you got, the more and more narrow it got. And you're like jumping all over because we're in this four-wheel drive Tacoma, which is a great car to have. I mean, it was a fantastic rental car. I'm sure Avis will never rent to me again. Um, but the farther we got up this mountain, the more I went, this to me seems a little bit more dangerous. And so at one point we get to this part where it's starting to narrow so much that I'm concerned we can't get turned back around. There's not a place to park.
Right.
We kind of missed a spot where I was like, hey, we could turn here. And then they're like, no, let's just go a little further. And some really cool old guys at a restaurant for breakfast had said to me, hey, listen, no, you can't get past this point where you need to park here and hike the rest of the way in. And it's 9 miles.
Right,
And
because where you were at, you were about 4 miles away, but you couldn't stop your
maybe
car.
two and a
You can't
half,
just
4 miles. You can't just leave your car in the middle of
no,
a. In
you
fact,
would have had to go
we saw
back.
multiple
Yeah,
people when we were up there in like those little Polaris, like
yeah,
golf cart looking things. Like my golf cart's not a Polaris, but like it's like golf cart looking things, right? Multiple people going up and down that mountain in their little Polaris thing. So if I had just left our truck in the middle and just went hunting, like treasure hunting, they'd be like, "What the heck?" The other thing is we get out of the car, we're thinking about going straight towards it, and all of a sudden, after the first pile of bear scat, I was still going, but the second pile, I was like, this is a little too fresh for me. So I
yeah.
want to caution people. This is the spring season, and these bears are awake, and they're out there, and they're pooping,
Yeah,
and so
yeah, we didn't expect that. I know that
yeah, we were
you
told
guys
not
weren't.
that it wouldn't be ready. They wouldn't be ready yet.
I mean, you had your bear spray, but there
I
was
had
at
a
least
bear at the ready,
one bear out there leaving at least two droppings, and they were somewhat fresh. So
and it
it's
was
got to be
relatively
within.
large. I was really impressed. I was really
Yes,
impressed. I'm
Yes.
like, you go, bear. You've clearly been eating.
Yeah. So
But
if
then
you
I didn't
guys
want to
were
be a bear
thinking,
snack. I didn't want to
yeah,
be a bear snack.
if you were thinking there's going to be snow, it sounds like unless there's another snowstorm,
Right,
that might not be an issue. That's good
right,
news. If you're thinking there might not be bears, you're wrong. Get bear spray. If you're thinking that
right,
every place is accessible, it's not right now. Then
right.
Gracie's is not open. Unfortunately, if you were planning to go out there and visit Gracie's, it's
Yeah.
not
I
open.
mean, that makes me so sad. I really wanted to
I
go there.
know. I know. What
I
if she had
really, really.
another hand drawn map we could have bought to Justin's Treasure? We don't know.
Should we talk about Polaris just a little bit?
You got to talk about Polaris. It's the North Star. It's part of
It's
Ursa
the North
Major.
Star. So Polaris was adorable and cute and
Mhm.
small.
Yeah.
Polaris itself, the little area where if you put Polaris in your GPS, like remember how we were like, how come we cannot find anything about this, right? And the reason you can't find anything about that is because it's basically a post office, maybe a 10 by 15 post office, with like an actual post box outside it, and like hours from 9 to 12, a few days a week. And then there's a couple of abandoned buildings, including like a polar bar. It says like polar bar, but it's like obviously been shut up. And maybe that's something locals use on occasions. Um,
Maybe it's closed during winter, you
it could be.
know?
It could be.
Yeah.
And what I would say is this is that, I was thinking about how he said in the book that he was with stones throws south of Polaris. Um, and so I pulled open, I have a map. Obviously we're all, using the internet. There's a website in the state of Montana where you can pull up and you can see if land is public or private. And all of the land that would have been a stone's throw south from that's all private land. So here's the thing. He grew up there for the most part. He was there all those summers. Those people know him. If they see him on his land, they're not going to think twice about it because it's Justin Posey. He's a Fitzwater grandbaby, right? They know who he is. But they don't see an Emma and a Jim and think, hey, we know who you are. They think, didn't you see the private property sign? It says
They
you
don't
will
know
be
me.
shot.
They
There
don't
were
know me.
signs where it says you will be shot. When we were at Hell's Canyon Road where we were looking, we grid searched this one whole big area and it was really cool. And then we got to this point when I thought it potentially could be just a bit farther, and I ran straight into a private property sign where it said you will be shot.
Yeah.
Private property, you will be shot. And here's the thing. When I first researched it, that location looked like it was part of state-owned land. So I'm going to tell you, do your due diligence, because even with doing my due diligence, I ran into a ton of fences. I ran into a ton of barbed wire and signs. So
Yeah,
do
and
your
this
due
is what's
diligence.
important, right? This is why it's important. People are like, man, you guys go boots on the ground a lot. We do, because a lot of it is you got to scout out these areas. You got to know these
Right.
areas because what you read on the internet isn't necessarily what you expect. I was told that you can get to that compass. You can't. I was told that
Right.
you can get to certain areas, and you found out, no, you can't, Jam. You're wrong.
Well, and
So,
I was actually told by someone that they were at that compass 2 weeks ago. And so what I know now is that that was either untrue or illegal. And so it could be
or
both.
maybe there's another way to get to the compass.
I
We
really
don't know.
tried.
We're
I
not
looked
saying that.
around. I looked
We
around.
don't
I
know.
tried to find another locate way up. But the reality is this is when a park is closed, the park is closed. And Justin says the parks are open or wherever it's at is open
Yeah.
24/7 right now.
Yeah.
So I would say the key to boots on the ground is planning.
Yep.
And you start with your weather. Is this a good time to go for the weather? You start with how are you going to get there? Or you then move to how are you going to get there? Are you going to drive? Are you going to fly? Are you going to rent? Like there were some treacherous portions of my time in that Dillon, Montana area where I'm like, they're never renting a car to me again when they get this car back.
Yeah.
A rock
You
hit the
did a good
windshield. There's
job,
a
though.
huge
You only
crack.
had to drive backwards on a horrible road for a mile. That was
Oh,
not
there's
bad.
boulders for a
Thank
mile.
God another car didn't come.
I
So,
know. Oh my gosh, it
yeah.
was stressful. It was stressful, but I did it,
Yep.
and I'm not afraid to do things. But
Yeah.
I think about how in Golden Greed, when Justin
Mhm.
said that after he lost his brother, how he did things that were probably a little bit more
Sketchy, right?
sketchy or like, of questionable. They weren't as
Yeah.
safe, right? I just don't think after what he went through and after what he's seen regarding Forrest Fenn, I just don't think he ever wants any of us to be putting ourselves in harm's way. I
Yeah.
don't believe that. And if you're really questioning that, I would say, hey, shoot him something on X, tag him, and be like, hey, I'm thinking about going into bear country without bear spray on a 10-mile hike. What do you think, Justin Posey? And I promise you, you're going to get back.
He
Read the
literally just
rules.
posted something out saying when you signed up to our site, you agreed that you would not
Right.
do this dangerous thing. You would not search in snow. You would not do all this stuff.
Right.
Do not do this. You are in violation of the treasure hunt. You won't find it if there's snow. But as we get to summer, I know a lot of people are looking in Arizona. It's another
Yeah.
good location. A
It's a
lot of
great
people looking in
location.
New
Stay hydrated.
Mexico. Yeah,
Stay
it gets
hydrated.
hot. It was 100 degrees already this last weekend, and a lot
Right.
of people went out there, not enough water. So you guys got to be
Right.
prepared. That's our whole thing. We want you to treasure hunt with us, but we also want you to be safe with us, right? So
Right.
we are hoping that someone watches us, if not us, finds the treasure,
Right.
lets us know all about it, comes on the show and be like,
Come on
hey,
the show. We have questions for you.
watch the show.
Um,
I saw it. I went out. I found the
right.
treasure, and I went out safely.
Well, and then the other last thing I would say about all of that, and I'll kind of tie it down, is that he says you don't need a vehicle with a big range or lift or whatever his words were. He said in the Hollywood interview. I mean, I had a Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drivey thingamaroo, and it had good clearance, and there were still spots where I'm like, holy smoke, we're in the wrong place. We're in the wrong place. And that's an opportunity. There's nothing that stops you when you get in the middle of that to stop and go, this is not the right place. And to turn around and go back if you can turn around safely.
Well, Scott's off this week. You guys are out there. That's why you guys are out there scouting this out. And we do plan on going back out to Montana, maybe some other couple areas also.
Right.
What do you have
Actually, I have a
planned for the
couple
rest
really
of this
good
week, though?
ideas. This
So,
rest week? Okay, so, well, first I'll say we will absolutely be back because there's a few things we need to like just hone in. And we're so close, but we ran out of time and that happens to people. And actually that leads into we're meeting one of our Discord friends on Wednesday in Arkansas to help them grid search their location. And so we're going to go grid search
Pokemon box.
Pokemon box. We're back to TTI.
That's right.
Wednesday, we're going to be grid searching there minimally on Wednesday and Thursday. According to him, we're walking in, we're going to grab that box. And then we're out of there as soon as we've got it.
Right.
And then, I mean, the question is, are we going to help with that other little secret spot that person that wanted us to help with?
Yeah, I mean, our plans
It'll depend
changed.
on what we find.
Our plans changed. Originally, we were going to take the one trip, and then we were like, man, we really got to see Montana. We just really got to
Right.
see it. We just so many good vibes on Montana.
Right.
We have to go out there. We did. We went out there. We're going to definitely go to Arkansas, and then we are going to take some of that trip back. We have a couple stops
Right.
along the way. So we're going to
Right.
hopefully do a little bit more TTI. So you might have some more videos coming out, but they'll be TTI
Right.
videos.
There'll be
So,
TTI videos. And then
yeah.
I'm taking Sunday off because, it's Easter.
Yeah, you should actually take a break every once in a while.
Yeah. It's not about that. This is my break, right? I mean,
It
I'm
is.
having such a good time. I'm having
Yeah.
such a good time that when I get done with work, like I got done here, East Coast time, 6 o'clock. We went and grabbed some dinner, kind of talked through some of the things we were thinking about the solves, some things we need to really hone in on, and some places where we're like, does this mean this? Could it also mean this? I actually had an idea at dinner that was like, oh my gosh, what about if we turn that theory to this theory? What does that look like? And so we're both sitting there eating and just Googling. They had to think that we didn't like each other because we're like not
On
even
your
talking.
phone the whole
We're
time.
just eating. And
That
then
married
I'm
couple.
like, oh, see that phone? Oh, okay. Oh, see my phone? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. So, but the truth is it's the most exciting time in the history of treasure hunting. Unless you were a pirate, I'm sure that was pretty cool too, but I didn't live it.
Well, I love it. It sounds like you had an amazing time. I look forward to more shorts that are coming out.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, we have, I want to say 5 or 6 more shorts to go just from the time there.
That's incredible. And I think
Right.
everybody's looking forward to seeing because they want to see more pictures of this area before they go out there, or maybe they already have gone out there and just more confirmers for
Right.
them. So,
But thank you so much for all your support, for all the people who've liked, all the people who've commented, and certainly all the people who are following us and subscribed to us. We really appreciate it. We're just so excited to bring you really content that has the richness of the area, the richness of the intent, the richness of these books. They're so beautiful.
yeah, we're super excited. So thank you for coming out. Thanks for following us. And we will be coming out with another video still about talking about
Yep.
the next part of our chapters where we go through. And in that one, I believe we're doing Gracie Grail. So I want to talk about
I really
that
hope
because
so.
now you got a new perspective when we talk about it.
I want to talk about Gracie Grail, but we also have Justin's favorite portion of the book.
That's right. That which now
Don't
I had to
forget.
reread like 3 times, and I'm like,
I
whoa,
know.
I missed
I
this, I
know.
missed that. Oh my gosh, they're talking about wisdom,
Right.
they're talking about time, they're talking about, oh, I didn't see any of this, and now I'm ready to talk
Right.
even more about it. So
Right. Cannot wait. Well, I'm gonna go to bed.
get some sleep.
Oh,
How
I'm
about
lying. K-Pro's going live. I'm gonna go lay
we're
down
gonna
and
go
listen
watch
to
K-Pro? That's
Let's
right.
go watch K-Pro and Mike.
And Mike.
We will do
Calazars. That's right.
Calazars.
Yeah, they got
They're a
some.
duo.
They're dropping some big info, so you probably won't see this before.
I'm really excited.
it's out
I've
there,
watched
so.
their I've watched that video they're gonna drop tonight multiple times because I think
Me too.
it is rich with
Yeah, I'm
information.
wondering if he's
Rich.
like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have did that interview. Talk about how or where I would hide a treasure and using a
right.
steward and all that good
Right.
things. And now did a video for 5 years ago and I did it. And now I did it exactly how I said I was going to do it. So people go watch it. I'll post the link down below. Thank you guys so much.
Treasure hunt with us, we gon' light it up. There's treasure inside, yeah, we rising up. If you're gonna treasure hunt, why not treasure hunt with us? We the ones, we the truth, yeah, we